classrooms are empty of questions from any side. Most teachers follow the pedagogy of answers, and most students passively accept it. There are no questions from either side. It is perhaps for this reason that the scenario of learning is very disappointing, especially in rural and semi-urban areas where teachers tend to focus more on making their students memorize notes or ready-made answers given by them. As a result, the thinking ability of students is never fully developed, which only makes them sit silently with a silent mind in the classroom. This approach to teaching is squarely denounced by Paulo Freire as banking approach. Freire instead advocates the dialogical approach to teaching. So far as thinking is concerned, everyone does it. It is very much part of human life. We are all born to think. But the question is, how well do we know how to think? Quite often, our thinking left to itself is biased, distorted, partial, prejudiced, uninformed, tending to degenerate into daydreaming, fantasizing, or worrying. This may be the case with a majority of students. Our students, therefore, need to be taught how to think rather than what to think. In other words, they need to be taught critical thinking skills. In fact, this is a way of recognizing their individuality and their potential for thinking and learning on their own and demanding accountability from them and thereby motivating them to learn the application of their knowledge. Critical thinking is defined in different ways by different scholars, but the basic conception in all competing definitions is that of thinking about thinking. In Paul's words, Paul is a well-known critical thinking scholar of the world. In his words, critical thinking is thinking about your thinking while you are thinking in order to make your thinking better. Maybe you would like to repeat, you would like me to repeat this sentence. Critical thinking is thinking about your thinking while you are thinking in order to make your thinking better. So in other words, we can say that critical thinking is self-directed, self-disciplined, self-monitored, and self-corrective thinking. It involves developing and employing certain thinking skills, including specific intellectual standards and dispositions. Scriven and Paul, again, well-known city scholars, have offered a more comprehensive definition of critical thinking. According to them, critical thinking is the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, or communication as a guide to belief or action. In fact, this definition is based on Bloom's taxonomy of different cognitive skills or domains of thinking, like remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, or creating, and evaluating. The first three of these skills are categorized as lower order thinking skills because they are simply the abilities to recall facts or information, while the last three are recognized as higher order thinking skills, as they are the abilities to break the whole into component parts to make inferences and draw conclusion, that is analysis, to use old ideas to create new ones using information from a variety of sources, that is synthesis, and to make judgments, explain reasons for judgments, compare and contrast information, and develop reasoning using evidence from the relevant sources, that is evaluation. Besides these skills, there are intellectual standards to be applied to thinking. These are clarity, accuracy, precision, relevance, depth, breadth, and logic. In order to be a skilled critical thinker, one needs to inculcate certain intellectual traits, virtues, or dispositions like intellectual humility, intellectual courage, intellectual empathy, intellectual autonomy, intellectual integrity, intellectual perseverance, confidence in reason, and fair-mindedness. By intellectual courage is meant a consciousness of the need to face and fairly address ideas, beliefs, or viewpoints towards which we might be having strong negative emotions. Having a consciousness of the need to imaginatively put oneself in the place of the other is intellectual empathy. Intellectual autonomy involves having rational control of one's beliefs, values, and inferences. Intellectual perseverance implies having a consciousness of the need to use intellectual insights and truths in spite of difficulties, obstacles, and frustrations. Confidence that is in the long run, one's and humankind's higher interests will be served by giving freest play to reason is confidence in reason. And lastly, fair-mindedness means having a consciousness of the need to treat all viewpoints alike without reference to one's own feelings or vested interest. This is fair-mindedness. Now the question is, how can we learn critical thinking skills? The most effective method of developing and using critical thinking skills, as most CT scholars believe, is questioning. The neuroscience of questioning says that the most basic thing questions do is that they stimulate thinking. And truly, this is very much part of our day-to-day experience. Doesn't a question seem to hijack our mind momentarily the moment we hear that question? We are just stuck up. We start thinking about the answer to the question. So questions are, they hijack our minds. They provide direction to our thinking. So questioning not only sparks our thinking, but also orients or propels it in a particular direction for a particular purpose. Questioning in the context of critical thinking involves asking pertinent questions that serve as prompts, leading us to acquire particular types or levels of critical thinking skills. For example, in the context of literature, because I've been a student of literature, so I would like to draw your attention to this context of literature. Questions such as, how many characters are there in story? What is happening in the story? What lesson do you learn from the story? These questions, take us to the skills of remembering, understanding, and applying respectively. And questions such as, how are the actions or speeches of the characters related to the main idea of the story? Do you like or dislike the story? Why? Can you write another story using the same characters? These questions bring us to the skills of analyzing, evaluating, and creating respectively. when I was head of the Department of English in a women's college in my hometown, Udaipur, I conducted 2 experiments with BA first year and BA third year students. And I used these things in the with those students, and I found wonderful results. I got wonderful results, and because of paucity of time, I may not be able to give you the glimpse of those experiments. I will have to skip to the next thing, that is a few examples of the questions that might serve as prompts. In fact, when teachers ask students higher order questions to help them come up with deep explanations, learning is enhanced in across content areas. Learning can also be enhanced by student self-questioning. Teachers should therefore encourage students to question themselves. The following may serve as examples of higher order questions. Questions that seek more evidence. For example, how do you know that? What facts is that claim based on? Then questions that seek clarification. Can you put that another way? What do you mean by that? Then we have questions that seek a logical link. Is there any link between what you have just stated and your earlier comment? How does your statement fit with your earlier statement? Then we have hypothetical questions. What might have happened if blanks? What if blanks? Then we have questions that ask for relationship between cause and effect. What is likely the effect of blanks? Then we have questions that ask for summary and synthesis. For example, what are the most important ideas that emerge from this debate? What remains unresolved or debatable about this topic? So we can see that questioning is crucial to entire teaching learning process. It is an effective tool for both the teacher and the student. The teacher can employ it in his or her class to transform an unthinking student into a thoughtful one by creating cognitive pressure on his mind to think and respond. By posing questions to students, the teacher can invite their active participation in the learning process. The teacher should be more a questioner than an answerer. Answers without questions kill curiosity. The teacher should also allow students for questioning. The students should also raise questions. Questioning by students will make them fearless and adventurous. It will reduce their fright, which in fact is the enemy of curiosity and creativity. Questioning is equally important for the student as a self-help tool. By developing the habit of questioning, which in the course of time becomes a spontaneous cognitive act, the student can acquire thinking skills and a vujjayi attitude, which in turn will enable him to become independent learner and thinker. That's all. All right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dugat. There's a famous saying about the modern school. So the students enter with the question mark and leave the school with the full stop. So questioning is quite important for us to enhance students' thinking skills, and which leads to especially critical thinking. You can raise your question. So you can add your views, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Durga. Because these days we are reforming our education. Under the reforming, we are mainly focusing on critical thinking and problem solving. Because 21st century and fourth industrial revolution, and also the sustainable national development and sustainable peace need critical thinking. Not only critical thinking, but also problem solving. Your presentation is very much aligned with our these days reform. I think
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
all
very much.
our curriculum developers are very happy. Because now to introduce critical thinking and problem solving, plus innovation, creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship, collaboration and teamwork, and communication, as well as media literacy, information literacy, all these things also included, to make them a 21st century or fourth industrial revolution ready student. So what we are doing is, so we make them active learners rather than passive learners. So they can discuss, they can practice by doing, and they can come and do the presentation to the teacher. And we make them deeper learning, not the surface learners. As I said, we take them to the high order thinking through Bloom's taxonomy. We call deeper learning and high order thinkers. Not only that, but also the collaborative learning and problem-based learning, authentic learning, as well as the blended learning and authentic questioning. All these things are related to critical thinking. So we are very happy now. We have gone in depth to the subject. But what we are trying to do is, we will introduce authentic learning or project-based learning or problem-based learning or inquiry-based learning techniques to inculcate this. So we will give them a problem and they have to bring solutions. There's no one solution. They do it as individuals or as teams. In a class, if they have 25, we divide into five groups, and they will investigate and they will bring the solutions. That is called problem-based learning or project-based learning. So those are the things we are inculcating in our modules. And after they do the module, we will give them credit, and 70% percentage is allocated for formative assessment. So my question is now, since we are in the process and you are expert on this, so what are your advices? Because your theoretical model will work. Is this working with this our approach? Because we'll give them a problem and they will bring our solutions, ideas, the questions. And they can learn from village, home, anywhere, and they can bring solutions. Even they can use internet and all this. So what is your advice? Are we doing the correct thing, or is there any more what we are missing?
Sir, I would like to first of all congratulate you on incorporating critical thinking skills and problem solving in your design, in new educational policy. I'm sure, very much sure, that it would have wonderful results in the times to come. Sure, I'm pretty sure about it, because the two experiments I conducted in my college with my BA students, I wanted to conduct them with my PG students also. The results were just, amazing. Those students who were sitting passively, silently, were not saying anything, speaking anything, they started speaking things, and they came out with excellent answers. One example, I just, because you asked me this very wonderful question, that experiment was based on making intelligent guesses about Hemingway's novel, The Old Man at the Sea. Is a great novel. It's a small but great novel by Ernest Hemingway, the Nobel laureate. American Nobel laureate. And I didn't tell them anything about the novel. I simply gave them this title, I exposed them to this title, The Old Man at the Sea. And then I started, asking them questions. One question to one student, another question to another student, and then yet another question to another student. So 4 or 5 students. And then they came out with intelligent guesses, which was almost everything about the novel. They'd already made they made out the meaning of the novel. So if I had time, I would have given that example I have with me. But that amazed me. Amazing. So I'm sure your efforts will have amazing results. And please let me know. Please let me know whether my prediction has come true.
Thank you very much. I'm sure, even through languages, even so Sinhala or Tamil, mother tongue, we can develop critical thinking. That is the good lesson, because there are Sinhala and language lesson writers or the
Especially
module
primary.
developers,
Primary.
science, all these things, primary. So that is lacking in our society.
So I hope you have included creative thinking also.
Yeah.
Creative thinking.
Creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship is
Yeah.
one line. Then critical thinking and problem solving.
Sure.
And under the learning skills. Then collaboration and teamwork and the communication, all things covered.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
I don't have any question, but I would like to offer a comment. I'll just give you a couple of examples how we can use language or literature to develop critical thinking, creative thinking skills in our learners. Now, there is a story, and the title of the story is The Moth and the Star. The protagonist, the hero in the story, is a moth, that insect, the moth and the star. The moth fell in love with a star. Usually a moth falls in love with a flame. But this particular moth was different, and the moth fell in love with the star. The parents said, don't do that. You can't achieve the star. You won't be successful. So the moth left his father's house. So while teaching this story, or after teaching this story, I would like to ask questions to my students. Do you have anything special to say about this particular sentence? The moth left his father's house. Would you like to answer this? There is a sentence in the story, the moth left his father's house. Now, this particular sentence, the moth left his father's house, is a very good example of an instance that we can use to develop critical thinking in our learners. Can you give me some response? What is so special about this sentence? The moth left his father's house. Very briefly, ma'am.
It suggests that that moth did not want to listen to his father. He wanted to achieve somehow the star.
Okay. Now, I would like to focus your attention to the words in this sentence, and whether there is any special word which can be used to elicit responses, critical thinking responses in our classroom. The moth left his father's house. Anything that you would like to say? Yes. We are enabling our learners to develop their critical thinking.
Yes, sir. You said the moth left his father's house.
Yes.
Then there might not be a mother for the moth.
Uh-huh.
The mother could have been died in an incident of following a star or something.
Okay, so that is one perspective. But the fact is, the moth's father is there, the moth's mother is there, both the parents are there, and the parents are not very, very happy with what the son is doing, and therefore the son leaves the father's house. Now, why is the house called a father's house? Why isn't it called mother's house? Because it is the mother who spends a lot of time inside the house doing all kinds of household chores like washing and cleaning and mopping and sweeping. So gender bias, you have to discover gender bias. And I'm sure there will be some student in the classroom who would say, I don't agree with this particular sentence. I don't agree with this author because the author is a patriarchal thinker. Matriarchal and patriarchal. Male dominated, female dominated. So the culture, the hidden agenda in the story is that it is a male-dominated culture. It is a patriarchal society or structure. And a house is called, therefore the house is called father's house, not mother's house. Actually, it should have been called parental house at least.
That's right.
Yeah.
So actually, that's what I'm always telling this mindset.
Yes,
This mindset is based on this gender.
exactly.
So male dominated. So we have to have neutral gender.
Yes.
So our house, so the
Parental house.
so their house.
Yeah.
but-
And in your presentation also, Professor Duggar, you said you were talking about teacher in the beginning, right? In the introductory part. And you said the teacher should do this and he should. Why only he? Why not
He
she?
or she. So we have to say he or she.
Yeah. Or just say she, because we have used he many times now. It's time we change, we move
So
from he to
correct
she.
one is he and she, or he or she.
Yeah, or they.
You know, yes.
No, now they are using they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Because,
we need to train our learners to look at a discourse in a critical manner. There is a discipline called critical discourse analysis. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for making this supplementary observation, supplementing my presentation. Thank you so
And
much.
I also do another strategy in my class. For example, sir, let's say there is a sentence. A symposium was held on the campus of NIE in Colombo. Instead of asking them questions and eliciting answers from them, I give them the answer and ask them to frame a question. For example, the sentence is, a symposium on education was held on the premises of NIE in Colombo. And I give an answer. For example, Colombo. What would be the question for this answer? The answer is given and the
Yes, sir.
learner has to design a question. So what will be the question? No, a symposium on education was held on the premises on the campus of NIE in Colombo. And the answer given is Colombo. So I want you to design a question which can elicit this answer. The answer is Colombo. Yes? Where was the symposium on
held.
education
Held.
held? So our mindset, as you rightly pointed out, is we are conditioned because we always ask questions and expect answers. We can do it other way around. We give the answer and ask the learners to frame a question for that answer. So that's also a step towards critical thinking. Thank you.
I wish there could be questions from your side. I mean, more questions from his side, because I was talking about stimulating questioning. And if there are no questions, it means I have failed in my job.
Great presentation. I have some out of this presentation question. This in our culture, it's very difficult to ask the question to teacher in our South Asia. Yeah, that's it's a very barrier. Are you agree? It is in the practice in India also.
It's everywhere, It is the same thing exists in India also. I refer to Indian situation. Students do not ask questions. And teachers, today, just look at the situation. Who is encouraging questioning? Who will encourage questioning? Bureaucrats? No. Politicians? No. Teachers? No. We should teach our teachers to encourage their students' questioning. This is the idea. As teachers, we should encourage them to speak, to question. And they should not sit silent in the classroom. This is the duty of the teacher. Anything else?
Sir, when you define the critical thinking, right, you said that thinking, about thinking, while thinking, for better thinking. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, now thinking about thinking is metacognition. Thinking
Yeah.
about thinking is
Sure,
metacognition.
sure.
So is there any, what is the clarification of metacognition and critical thinking? Can you elaborate it? If you can, I don't know whether I'm asking the right question at this moment.
Metacognition to improve cognition. To improve cognition. This is the idea behind this. You can improve cognitively by through metacognition. When you think about your thinking, means you have to ensure that your thinking is not biased. Your thinking is not prejudiced, it's not distorted. And how will you do that? Only by thinking about your thinking. You have to question your own thinking all the time.
Sure, sir. Please proceed.
You know, once I was teaching Wordsworth's Daffodils in my class, and I drew the attention of the learners to one particular word that is there in the poem. The poem is like this: I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. It's a poem, beautiful poem called Daffodils, written by William Wordsworth. So I said, what do you think is the meaning of the word host? A host of golden daffodils. Our mindset is conditioned, as you rightly pointed out, and usually we say a host means many, uncountable, innumerable. But then I said, can you look at it from a different perspective, and can you think critically and creatively and give me some other response, which is legitimate? And one student got up and said, sir, I have a different interpretation of the word host. The usual dictionary meaning of the word host is number of, innumerable, uncountable, many, plenty of. Okay, that is the conventional answer. The unconventional answer was given by, or 2 or 3 unconventional answers were given by my students. One student got up and said, sir, in my opinion, the poet is a guest and the flowers are playing the role of the host, because the flowers are dancing and, tossing their heads. So here was a novel interpretation that the flowers are playing the role of a host and the poet is a guest. Just as the host takes the responsibility of entertaining and making the guest comfortable, the flowers are also dancing and tossing their heads because they want to make the poet happy. So the flowers are the host, the poet is the guest. That's one new interpretation. And there was a girl in the class and she said, sir, I have another interpretation. In biology, we have a host and a parasite, right? A big tree is a host, a big animal is a host, and a creeping plant is a parasite or a flea, some insect that sucks the blood of the cow or the buffalo is a parasite. So the flowers are the host, like a big tree or a big animal, and the poet is a parasite. The poet depends on the flowers to get entertainment, to get joy and bliss and all that. You see, beautiful interpretations. I never expected these interpretations in my class. This is in my, as the Honorable Director has already pointed out, this is a prime responsibility of the teacher. Develop and to ignite curiosity, to develop and ignite critical thinking and creative thinking. I think we need to do a lot of things in this area. And by the way, I have developed a couple of modules on critical thinking and creative thinking.
Please, thank you. Yeah, if you have any modules or something, please share with
Sure,
us.
I'll send it.
Yeah.
I'll send it.
Because imagination is the key. Because learning is learning about the prevailing knowledge. But we should allow students to imagine. The problem is how to train the teachers to think on this line. That is our biggest challenge.
Sure.
All right.
So just a
Sure,
bit.
please.
So before I make an exit from the dais, I would like to thank the NIE, the Honorable Director General, Dr. Sunil Navaratne sir, the Deputy Director General, Dr. Darshana, and Director Research, Dr. Dayanand, Kepetigoda for having invited me to this international symposium on education. It's a beautiful place with beautiful people, with beautiful, demeanor. I thank all of you.
Thank you very much. Of course, you have stimulated us to rethink whether we have done a good job. I mean, we have to rethink about the modules that we have developed, and so questioning is a must, because we have to question ourselves whether we have done a better job. So, thank you very much. And so, because of the time restrictions, we have to move to the next presenter. She's from our primary department, Mrs. T.C. Firis. Please, ma'am, over to you. So she'll be presenting influence of teachers' mindfulness on senior secondary student outcomes while learning English as a second language in Sri Lanka.
Dear ladies, dear gentlemen, I'm very happy to have had this opportunity to present about the influence of mindfulness on students' outcome, especially related to English language teaching. Influence of the teacher's mindfulness on senior secondary student outcomes while learning English as a second language in Sri Lanka. Then poor student outcomes and wide disparities has become a burning issue in public education of Sri Lanka. According to the studies, it was revealed that student outcomes are affected badly by the teacher's stress. At present, teaching has been identified as the most stressful profession in the human service industry, according to those researchers in 2016. 46% of teachers reported high levels of daily stress, ranking the teaching profession in the lead for most stressful occupation. It's according to Greenberg. High stress level impact teacher well-being, and it has become a critical issue in the educational field, which affects negatively towards the teaching learning process, then management. Then not only that, then management of the classroom, then when we think about how to teach, then creativity, teachers' creativity, those things were affected by the teacher's stress. Then teachers' behavior in the classroom, especially, that is that. And then teacher-student relationship, the creativity, teacher patience, teaching methodologies, according to Fluke et al. Then factors causing teacher stress, according to researchers, the Vikram Singh IP tell, then workload, no help in the classroom, large classes, then high subject content, then less preparatory time, the lack of colleagues and superior support, poor time management and classroom management skills, lack of presentation skills, then lack of communication and voice modulation skills, personal illness and household work burden, because most of the teachers are female. That's the reason. Then student behavior problems. Then, on the other hand, not only the teachers, but also students. Most of the students are stressed. Then, because then fast-paced, media-saturated, multitasking world, and then not only that, the stress is performing, then succeeding and getting into a good college. Those are the reasons for stress of the students. Then student behavior outcomes such as students' participation, relationship with the teacher, then relationship with peers, etc. And academic outcomes, that is students' achievement levels of competencies related to basic reading, writing. Because I'm talking about English language, then competencies of reading and writing. This stress has been affected. Then, I'm sorry, reading and writing has been affected. Then when we think about outcome, here I'm going to talk about then academic outcome and behavioral outcome. Then the emphasis of academic, because students think about academic part of learning, then they neglect the development of social emotional qualities essential for skillful world citizenry. It is according to Salzman in 2017. It has been found out that lack of mindfulness may result in high stress level. Then negative reactivity to stress stimuli and lack of body awareness and clarity of mind. Then mindlessness. Then when we think about mindfulness, then mindfulness means then when we do something, then we have to concentrate on that particular thing. Then while listening, we have to listen to that particular thing without thinking about other things we have to do. Then even now, I have to, when I am speaking, I have to think about this one without thinking other things if I want to communicate with you clearly and correctly. Then at the same time, I'm sorry, not only that, it was revealed that teachers can improve their well-being as well as the classroom environment through the use of mindfulness practices, which was revealed by the Buddha 2,600 years ago. It is according to Harris, Fluke. There are so many researchers, they say we can improve the well-being of the teachers. Consciousness, being alive in each moment, brings not only personal awareness, but also awareness of others and of the world. Then when we practice mindfulness, we can have our self-awareness. We can understand ourselves. Not only that, then we can understand the others too in the society. People tend to become calmer, more open to their surrounding, and learn to understand and observe, leading to better decision making. Then when we take decisions, we have to think clearly. To think clearly, we have to have a clear mind. It is like a pond. If the muddy pond, if it is stirred by someone, we can't see the bottom of the pond. Same manner, if our mind is stirred by so many things, multitask, then we can't think clearly. So if we want to think clearly, to take decisions, we must have mindfulness. When the teachers and students are able to slow down and notice each moment more clearly, improvements in academic and social emotional skills may result. It is according to Lanka in 1989, and there are so many researchers. But any convinced evidence of the influence of teachers' mindfulness on senior secondary student outcomes while learning English as a second language in Sri Lanka or any other country cannot be found. So to fill this gap, I selected this one. Objective to explore the influence of teachers' mindfulness towards senior secondary student outcomes in the government schools in Sri Lanka. Here we can see, according to the neurologists, there are 4 types of brainwave patterns: beta, alpha, theta, and delta. According to Morgan, he revealed that when a person practices mindfulness meditation regularly, there can be seen a change of brainwave pattern, gradually going from beta to delta. This indicates that mindfulness meditation leads to a calmer and relaxed mind. Here you can see in this picture illustration. According to the studies, people who have practiced mindfulness show thickening of the gray matter in their frontal cortex. This is the area of the brain responsible for attention, self-regulation, executive function, and planning. They also show thickening of the hippocampus, responsible for memory function. Those who practice mindfulness also show reduced activity in the amygdala. Here we can see the part associated with distraction, anxiety, fear, depression, and stress. So we can see that if we practice mindfulness, we can improve our attention, then self-regulation, executive function, and planning. Planning skills will be very easy for us if we have mindfulness. Then not only that, then memory can be improved. Then because of amygdala, that part create some kind of chemicals. When we have anger, when we have jealousy, those bad feelings. When we have mindfulness, we can understand, when we practice that mindfulness, when we have anger, then we understand, now I have anger. Then we have no time to react to that because we understood that we have anger. So we don't want to react to that. So that amygdala can't produce that chemical. So we can less anxiety, fear, depression, and stress because of this reason. So this is the neurologists and other researchers explain. Then now let's see the research method. Pre-post experimental research method was used. Before intervention, pre-test, and after intervention, post-test was conducted for both groups, control and experiment. Data source, primary data, population, senior secondary students in the government schools in Western Province, Sri Lanka. Sample size 380, but actual size, because according, we had that COVID, because of that, we couldn't get the participation of students. Then actual size 230. Experimental group out of 195 classes took part 128. Control group out of 194 classes then took part 120. Sampling method, stratified random sampling, because we have 3 types of schools, then type 1AB, 2 schools, type C, 2 schools, and type 2, 1. So I wanted to select according to those stratas. So I use stratified sampling method. Data analysis, descriptive and inferential. It means hypothesis testing. Then statistical technique of data analysis, then SPSS. Then response rate I have given here. Data collection method and instruments. Using structured observation sheets while having face-to-face friendly discussions by the researcher as an active participant and passive participant. The marks obtained by the students of English language at their provincial level last term test. Last term test mean grade 10. And then first term test of grade 11 were used as the instruments for collecting data before and after 8-week intervention period. First step, structured observation and interviews were conducted for both teachers as well as for the students in each school. Each school means selected schools. After having a friendly discussion on the subject and the difficulties the teacher faced, each student was asked the difficulties they have while learning English as a second language. Students were asked to write 15 sentences on myself for further clarification of the difficulties and for assisting the teachers to take necessary remedial steps for the feedback. When the essay on myself and the pre-test English language answer scripts observed, the said difficulties were seen very clearly by the researcher as well as the teacher. Those difficulties they face while writing myself and the answer scripts, we were able to see the same difficulties. The problem the teacher faces while teaching, classroom management, methodology, etc., those things were discussed. The measures that can be taken to overcome those problems to discuss. As the second step, the researcher discussed the following areas with the teachers of English of the both groups in each school during 3-hour 2 sessions to help the teachers to improve their professional skills and to bring the both groups to the same level, because they must have professional skills at the same level. That's why. Then those things, structure of the question paper, competencies and competency levels, essential learning outcomes and desired learning outcomes that students should be achieved, then text type and testing techniques, then marking criteria, importance of knowing those areas by the teacher as well as the students, then difficulties the students of grade 11 have. Then according to them, they said that they have the problems. Some of the students, they are grade 11 students, but they have letter formation difficulties, mechanics of writing, especially capitalization, reading difficulties. They can't read the words. Because of that, if I ask, for example, if I ask what's your name, they can answer. But if it is written, they can't answer because they can't read. Then grammar, vocabulary, essay writing. Then essay writing, under that content, facts, spellings, vocabulary and organization, etc. By observing the errors and difficulties of the students' essays on myself and their answer scripts of the third term grade 10 English language test paper conducted by the school at provincial level and the remedial steps to be taken to overcome them. Those are the things discussed with the teachers of English. As the third step, the teachers and the students of the experimental group was given the mindfulness training by Reverend Aturugiriya Dhammavihari Thera, an expert in mindful training, and the researcher herself using the activities mindful listening, mindful sitting, mindful eating, mindful walking, then mindful games and activities, then mindful drawing, body scanning. Then Simon says that type of games which can help them to concentrate easily, then mindful clapping game, etc. As the fourth step, the researcher herself became an active participant of the experimental group while observing the students' behavior and did different types of language activities. As the last step, at the beginning of the 9th week, post-test was conducted. Students were unaware of observation by being with them. The researcher collected the data on teachers' mindfulness, student mindfulness, and student behavior. Students' grade 11 provincial level English language test paper marks were obtained as the post-test marks of the achievement or student academic outcomes. To check their academic outcomes, we went through the post-test marks of grade 11 term test. Then according to findings, mean score. Before the treatment, mean score of the students in the experimental group, the student outcome of English language was 42.95. After the treatment, the mean score is 47.40. The difference between the main score of the pre-test and the post-test of student outcome in the experiment group is 4.45, a significant improvement. Mean score of the students in the control group was 49.68 at the pre-test, and the post-test mean score is 50.58. Though they were not provided the treatment, there is a difference between the mean score of the pre-test and the post-test of the control group as 0.9. This difference can be assumed as the effect of the treatment given to the both groups on professional skill development program. Therefore, the teacher can assume that the mean difference of the experimental group is solely not due to the mindfulness intervention and the influence of the professional skill development program too is included in that increment. When the difference of 0.9 is reduced from the difference of 4.45 of the experimental group, 3.55 can be taken as the actual effect of mindful intervention. Objective of the research was to study the impact of teachers' mindfulness on student outcomes. It was hypothesized that there is a positive relationship between teachers' mindfulness and student academic performance. Here we can see Pearson correlation 0.146 indicates a weak positive correlation. In the bivariate correlation, the significant value, p-value, is 0.014, which is less than 0.05, indicates that the correlation is significant, which means that the correlation between teachers' mindfulness and student outcome is significant and positive, though the correlation is weak. It is statistically proven that there is a significant and positive relationship between teachers' mindfulness and student outcomes. It is obvious that higher the adoption of teachers' mindfulness, higher the student outcomes. Here we can see teachers' mindfulness behavior in the classroom before and after intervention, then respect towards students. Teachers' respect towards students was less. It was 60%. But after mindfulness practices, it has been increased up to 80% in the experimental group. Then researcher saw that the observation, then at the beginning, before mindfulness intervention, then there are students, they can do the activities very well, and there are students who can't answer. Then they started shouting and then disturbing the classroom activities. At that moment, teacher shouted at them. But after intervention, researcher was able to see that clearly without shouting at them, teacher helped the students. Then when I think of presenter Dr. I can't remember the name, the previous presenter.
Dr. Duga.
Yeah, Dr.
Duga.
Durga. Then said that teachers must encourage the students to ask questions. Then here, because of the respect towards the student, then students' relationship between the teachers and students improved. Then they wanted to ask questions. Then teacher, I can't understand this. How can I do that? How can I write this one? Then they ask mother tongue some questions, and then teacher could help. Then enjoy teaching. Then earlier, the teacher was very stressed and they didn't enjoy. But after mindful intervention, they enjoy teaching because it was not a burden for them. Then listen with patience. They had the patience after intervention. Uh, then students' behavior problems before and after intervention. Absenteeism. Most students, because they can't understand, especially English language, they want to cut the classes because they can't understand. But after intervention, most of the students, they wanted to take part in the lessons, and then passive participation was decreased. Then earlier, they did not want to take part in the classroom activities, but after mindfulness activities, then teacher has patience, teacher wanted to listen. So students want to ask questions and students wanted to do the activities. Then lack of teacher-student relationship. It was very higher before intervention, but after that, it was very less. Then lack of student-student relationship. Before the mindfulness intervention, peer learning. Then students who can, they do not want to exchange their ideas with students who can't. But after mindfulness intervention, they wanted to help each other. Then the students who have difficulties, they wanted to discuss the problems they have with the peers who can, and they had very friendly relationship. Then students' mindful behavior before and after intervention. Their attention was increased, their confidence about the language, using language was improved, then they enjoy learning as teachers. Then finding revealed that the teacher's mindfulness as one of the most influential factors that decides the student outcomes, and the teacher's mindfulness creates a stress-free, enjoyable learning teaching environment for both teachers and students. Then this study is a substantial contribution to the knowledge gap of concept focus on how government schools in Sri Lanka can use mindfulness as tools to improve student outcomes. These findings can assist government schools in Sri Lanka to understand the effectiveness of the teacher's mindfulness to achieve positive student outcomes through effective stress-free classroom climate that provides enjoyable, self-motivated learning for students and enjoyable teaching experience for teachers. The information gained through this study will shed some insight into the policymakers, curriculum developers, curriculum implementers, teachers and teacher educators, and the persons who are interested in this field of mindfulness to gain spiritual happiness too. Schools can be stressful time for students as they experience new emotions, people, ideas, and responsibilities, which can cause an increase in stress. According to Salzman, however, mindfulness within the classroom can address these problems. Conclusion and recommendations. Based on the above findings and conclusions, following recommendations are suggested. Adopting a policy to implement mindfulness in the school curriculum. Implementing a policy in school to have continuous training for teachers on mindfulness. Not only that, I found out that some teachers must have continuous professional development too. Activities that were suggested above should be taken to improve the mindful living of both teachers and students to create a stress-free, enjoyable, and effective learning teaching environment for both. Then this is the reference, and then these are the instruments I use Then, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing your research experience. I think it's an under-researched area, according to her. Anyway, I would be grateful to you if you were mindful about the time. Anyway, so open for discussion.
Thank you very much, sir.
You had a control group, right? There were two groups,
Yes, sir.
control group and intervention group. Now, you start with the assumption that all the members belonging to the intervention group are at the same level,
Same level.
that the group is homogeneous. That is the assumption.
Yeah.
And all the members that fall under the category of control group are more or less the same competent level. Now, in my opinion, there is no group in anywhere in the world that is completely homogeneous. So do you think that invalidates your recommendations and conclusions?
Then, sir, this is like this. Then before intervention, according to the pre-test, I understood their level. Then after pre-test, researcher was able to understand the difference. Then according to that difference, we can say we can improve through mindfulness, like that.
Good, Chandrika. Yeah.
Yeah.
All are not equal.
Yeah, this is what we discussed yesterday. I mean, our keynote address yesterday, Professor Gominda was discussing about this scientific research, this points.
Anyway, congratulations, Chandrika. Very interesting and wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Because now we are introducing mindfulness also to the education system. And our Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Cecile Premjant, has announced that we will introduce mindfulness daily to the student from January 1st. So it will be a very good research paper to support that. And so since you are an expert on mindfulness, I think, is it common in India, mindfulness? Yeah, so why don't you do 1 minute mindfulness lesson to us?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, then
Yes.
we will understand. Yes.
Yeah. Then shall we close our eyes for the moment? Yeah. Then try to listen to the sounds around you. Then you may hear different sounds. Then think about far away sounds. Listen to them. Then sounds closer to you. Now, look at your breathing. Then the way you inhale and exhale. Yeah. Now you can open your eyes. What do you feel? If you feel some kind of relaxation, yeah, then I asked some with small children, I did this, and then I asked, did you feel something different? Yes, teacher, some kind of relax. like that they answered. Then I was very happy. Then it means then we can, then only few minutes mindfulness can improve our, then if we can practice whenever we feel some kind of stress or burden, then we can go to some place, or in the same place we can close our eyes, and then it means we forget about other things, and then we want to listen. Normally we don't want to listen. We want to think many things about our tasks, so many tasks. But when we think about mindful listening, then it helps us to listen to other things, others. Okay, without moving our concentration to other different burdens or other things. So you can feel, then when you practice, then we can feel, if we feel some kind of jealousy, then I have no jealousy. Oh, I'm very bad. Why do I want to have jealousy? Like that, then I don't want to react, and then I feel shy about myself. Then like that, we can control ourselves, and then we can understand the other feelings. Then we do not want to harm through our words or actions, because I feel then if I say this thing, then it will hurt, like that. Okay, then I have practiced very less. I think then if we can practice, I think we can gain more. And I'm very happy because my research was fruitful, because we are going to practice this in our schools. Then I know that then less than 20 marks, the students with less than 20 marks were able to get more than 40 in their test. So I'm very happy. Then thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Piris, for sharing your research experience with us. And so let's move to the next presenter, Mr. GSGW Kumar from Faculty of Music, University of Visual and Performance Arts. So over to you. So he'll be presenting his study on inquire the problems related to the implementation of school-based assessment program of the Western. Oh. Yes. Yes. I'm sorry, because it's in a small single line and I skip it. Sorry, I'm sorry. So are we going to? Yeah, okay. So we'll follow the schedule. Extremely sorry for that. So the next presenter, Mr. B. Angamana, and his topic is non-on-site education in the special education unit of a selected school, a case study. Please proceed. So you both are presenting, right? So there are two presenters, Mr. B. Angamana and Mr. D. Jayaratna. Okay. So they are the senior lecturer, Mr. B. Angaman, senior lecturer, the Open University of Sri Lanka, and the second presenter, Mr. D. Jayaratna, visiting lecturer, the Open University of Sri Lanka. So please mind the time allocated. So it's 12:20. Yeah. Okay. So we'll signal you. Yeah, 1 minute before we'll signal you, right? 10 minutes, sir. So they know this.
No, this is not the one. In the presentation, can you desktop it to then mic? Yeah, yes. Good afternoon, all. Uh, Chairperson of the panel, Dr. Ashoka Pereira, and Professor Patel, and other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, all presenters. So the topic, what am I audible? Yeah, okay then. So the topic what we have selected before go to the presentation, sometimes I thought of it would be better to clear. Sometimes you might be wondering why my brother-like friend assists me to come to the desk, because I'm also a man with one eye. I have lost my right eye very recently, and the other eye is also visible, 1 out of 3. So it's okay. So the topic is, that's why he assisted me. Thank you. So non-on-site education in the special sorry, excuse me. Making an fluent arrow keys. Can I move through arrow keys? Okay then. Sorry. So this, no? May I able to go through my arrow keys? Okay. So the topic is, as I presented, the non-on-site education in the special education unit in a selected school. It is a case study. So if I will go through the content of my our presentation, first one, introduction, objectives, methodology, then the findings and the discussion, then conclusion and the suggestion, and references, and finally acknowledgements. So if I come to the introduction, we know for last 2 years time as a world, not only as the Sri Lanka, but as a world, we what do you call that, faced a pandemic situation. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic situation, the whole education system, all education system in the world has to come to a halt. All the education policymakers, educators, teachers, and all the even learners had to rethink about the mode of delivering, mode of education. And also, especially during the due to the economic crisis and severe fuel shortage in this year, also in Sri Lanka, especially in Sri Lanka, only in Sri Lanka, the schools were closed. Schools were closed. So therefore, all the education system, the school education system had to adapt to the alternative way, alternative mode of delivering. So when we discussed about the mode of alternative delivering, mode of alternative ways of education, the term which comes to our mind is online education. But here we have a question, we had to question from ourselves whether can it be applied for the special needs education, or was it applied successfully to the special needs education system. And that's why we had to use the term called, apart from the online education, non-on-site education. So if we will if we will consider about the non-on-site education, the online education can be considered as the one component of the non-on-site education. Sorry, yes, online education can be considered as the one component, only a one component of the non-on-site education. So it was a novel experience and challenges not only to the learners, but also to the teachers and the authorities as well. So the major our objectives, the main objectives was to identifying how non-on-site education was conducted in this section during this period. During this period mean the period what they could not able to conduct on-site education. what they could not able to conduct on-site education. So the specific objectives were, first one was to identify the socio-economic factors in the teachers and parents which affects on non-on-site special education. Then the second specific objective was to identify the impact of NOSC, non-on-site education. What are the impact? What were the impact? And the last specific objective was to make recommendation for a more effective and efficient non-on-site education. So the methodology, research area and the population. Actually, we have selected one school, one special needs education unit with the aim of go deep than the touch, just touch. So that's why we have selected only one section, and the special education unit of the Nissanka school located in Kurunegala was selected to carry out the study from holistic approach. That's why I mentioned it's a case study. Only student belonging to the categories of Down syndrome, autism, slow learners, and multiple learning disabilities were studying here. Because in that section, all the students belongs to this category, and there were about 52 students. There were about 52 students. And the data collection techniques what we have used is case study, and randomly selected parents and teachers were openly interviewed. Randomly selected. We went to the school, and even we waited during near the gates and get their consent, and we were able to discuss openly with the teachers as well as with the parents, and also with getting the after get the permission from the authorities, not only the school but also in the zonal education office. We conducted focus group discussions with teachers as well as with the parents, with the aim of protect the reliability and validity of data what we have collected through open interviews. As we interviewed the ISA in-service advisor, and also the in-service advisor, also the director, deputy director related to the special education unit in the zonal education office. And we have adapted to the holistic approach and analyzed qualitatively. Then if I will come to the most important part of this presentation, findings and the discussion, the main on-site special education method used was assignment-based distance method. They were totally, I'm not referring to the, we could not able to generalize this, but I'm referring to this section, only this section. They were totally adapted only to the assignment-based education. Assignment-based education. Photos of the assignments were sent to the parents via WhatsApp groups, and printed materials, only printed those materials, not printed handwritten materials, handed over to the hard copies, handed over to the parents, but not to all, few cases. And also advice to the parents about the particular task. Teachers have given some task, the period, specific time to complete those assignments and submit it or resend via the WhatsApp groups. But via the WhatsApp group, those advice were also given via the telephone calls, personal telephone calls from teachers. And also the use of Demapiya Kriyakarakam Atpota. There was a practical guidance book, Demapiya, parents, Kriyakarakam, like practice, and Atpota mean handbook. There was a Demapiya Kriyakarakam Atpota printed by the Northwestern Province Education Department. Actually, it had been printed with the aim of advising or advocating the parents about how to conduct the non-on-site education. The use of what do you call that, applicable, applicable suitable task of SIP Mansala series. Actually, that is also one component. Teachers were advised by the authority to use the only the applicable and suitable tasks. So teachers had to select what are the applicable and suitable tasks or the assignment which they can use in their special education purposes, and they have used it, and not using online opportunities such as Zoom or MS Teams. They have never used it. They have never used it. Student week, because the teachers' assumptions were, before implementing or before conducting these sessions, students' week participation and attendance is those are pre-assumptions and no experimental adjustments. That means they have not conducted. The problem is if not representing the approved student. The reason what they have, according to their point of view, the reason is the problem is not representing the approved student teacher ratio, that is 5:1. That is 5:1. Teachers had to spend relative more money and time, as they believed, if they would have to conduct on-site online education. And socioeconomic barriers of the teachers and parents were the telephone bill and data cost, especially during this period, not this period, but in that period, and photocopy charges. Sorry, there is a spelling mistake. Extremely sorry. Photocopy charges, sharing devices, and etc. Those are the socio-economic barriers that we could able to highlight in this topic. And effects of technical barriers towards teachers and towards the parents: low knowledge on how to use the device and suitable apps properly. They did not know. Most of the parents bought smartphones or such devices with the aim of that process, with the aim of online, with the aim of facilitating students at that time. So they did not have any idea about how to use it. And they are dealing with their Down syndrome children, and effects of the teachers recruitment problem: qualified and non-qualified teachers for special education. For an example, as I personally, as both of us personally observed, most of the teachers were there. Some of the teachers, not most, some of the teachers were there without having the proper training on non-on-site special needs education, with some kind of a personal requirements, because some of their children are also belong to that category. So they have enrolled their children to that school, and the school is situated in the heart of the city. Those are the reasons, but teachers are working there without having proper training. And also maintain standard teacher-student ratio. That is also one effect. And the attitudes on non-on-site special needs education, especially parents, teachers, ISA, principals, and director. When we discuss about the attitudes, parents expected to have I will discuss about those things in the suggestion side. So the conclusion: in this selected special education section, there wasn't a successful process of non-on-site special education taken place, as all the efforts taken for that are clearly less effective. Even at the national level, it seemed to have been even a poor attention, as we believe, as there's a negligible mechanism and weak awareness of the steps to be taken to overcome the barriers of non-on-site special education, in order to do more justice to children with special needs. Because, as I told you, most of the students were Down syndrome students. When we discuss about, the Professor Patel is also here, when we discuss about the language acquisition of them, language acquisition of them for considerable days. Even one day is also considerable for education for any student, especially when we discuss about, or if we pay our attention on special education, what you call the special needs student. When we discuss about the language acquisition, if the education was not successfully continued for long period, like 2 years time, they had to all the talents, all the skills what they have developed according to their parents had reversed to the beginning. So needs in the future, more response eyes must be widely open towards extreme socio-economic problems and extreme technical hurdles that have everyday impacted this unit due to the non-on-site special education. So suggestions, first one is, we believe the Demapia Kriyakarakam Matpata Parents Practical Handbook, what developed by the Northwestern Province Education Department, had played a good role, but that was also affected due to the literacy of parents. The socio-economic educational level of the parent, it varies, depend on the educational level of the parent. And also telecast, we suggest telecast short TV programs. For an example, many parents suggested with tears of their eyes, their children imitate while other children watch your programs, Guru Gedara. They imitate wearing saris and using whiteboards, they imitated. But there were no any programs were telecasted for these students. And so telecast TV programs, not only to the students, but also to advise the parents. One suggestion, because we could not able to say, we may have to face this kind of a period again in future. Still, we have not overcome from the crisis now, contemporary crisis even, and send short video clips to clips of lessons, lessons, activities to the students, because not only the special education, not only the special needs students, but also I also have 2 young kids. Even though I'm a senior lecturer, or even though which kind of a position we are, their heroes are their teachers. Their teachers are their heroes. This is same to the special education children, special needs children as well. So they familiarize their teachers. The parents expected if the teachers could able to send at least short video clips. They did not send. That could be more effective than giving only the hard copy of or the printed or a photo of the assignment. And then send the instructional video clips to the parents, as they could not, because there were some parents who could not able to read even. There were some parents. So they expected it would be better to send some instructional videos to them and conduct limited short time Zoom sessions. We may not able to, conduct the 2 hours or 1 hour Zoom sessions with the special needs students. But we could able to think about short time Zoom sessions, and also upload the videos into the YouTube for continuous use with the aim of continuous use and attitudinal change towards non-on-site special education in the authority, teachers, and also the parents. References and acknowledgement. Our sincere appreciation and thanks should goes to the Assistant Director, Special Education, Zonal Education Office, Kurunagala, Miss MHN Tarangani, and the sectional head and the Vice Principal of the Special Education Unit, not by sectional head of the Special Education Unit, but the Vice Principal of Deputy Principal of the Nishanka Vidyalaya, Mr. Nimal Ratnayaka, and teachers who supported without any hesitation to share their own experience and thoughts with us, and parents who responded with tears in their eyes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Angamana. Of course, I mean, I'm shocked to think, I mean, what we have done for this special group of children. We have, I think we have ignored them a lot. So it's an eye-opening presentation. And so at least, as you said, when we face this kind of situation in the future, we have to pay special attention to this group of children. Okay, so I think it's a very sensitive topic, and I think this is the one of, I mean, the only one presentation or the research study related to this group of children. So open for discussion.
Yeah, very good presentation that we uploaded all the TV program in the NA channels. Didn't they watch it, or how they use it? Is it any possibility?
That mean about for special needs students.
No, normal program.
They were aware about the normal programs. That's why I told, while they were watching those programs, they imitated. But what do you call that? No any programs were telecasted with the aim of educate these students.
Mr. Kailaspati, so they are not in a position to follow such lengthy programs, and they are not addressing their needs. I mean, that's for the general crowd, and even the normal children, they didn't pay that much attention to this sort of lengthy programs. I mean, because at home they cannot spend such long time. You know, if they are really motivated, yes, they did. But even normal children, you know, they were not in a position to pay that many.
We need to instruct the parents to stop and then they can just they can watch 10 minutes and stop, and next day they can continue.
But may I know your name, Dr. Sir? When we discuss about the Down syndrome students, and they are very, what do you call that, still in the beginning level of the language acquisition, even language acquisition. So they were never able to follow the normal learning process, normal learning videos. They are special needs students. I think you got my point.
We also, for small children, we prepare clip of 15 minutes.
Still, that's for those are for normal children, right? So what he says is, you know, they are not suitable. I mean, exactly fit with
they are not in a position to, what do you call that, grasp or acquire the knowledge which provide through these through the programs what we were telecasted. Yeah,
very
definitely.
famous here.
Yeah.
Dyslexia.
Yes.
The child's problem is dyslexia. So those of you who haven't watched that movie, I would request them to watch it because it's on education. Like Three Idiots is also on education, different types of, and also I would request my fellow teachers here to read the book called Toto-chan.
Yes, it's translated into
even
languages.
Yeah,
It's book. The girl in that particular book is not a special child in that different sense. But in a sense, yes, the child is special because she's overactive. And it's very difficult for the teachers to control her. So in that sense, that child is special. So please read Toto-chan and watch Tare Zameen Par and Three Idiots, you know.
Yes.
And all that. Thank you.
with having such a disability, I do not hesitate to say, sir, with having such a disability, right, it is called retinitis pigmentosa. I am here because I met those type of teachers in my school education, because they are the person who, what do you call that, take me, they hang me and kept me in the university. They are the, what do you call that, they were the white stick. They were all of my teachers were white stick to me to enroll and enter to the university. I met such teachers there. So I should say that film, I consider that film, I admire that film. It can be considered as a cost variable to change my journey even. Thank you, sir.
So congratulations, sir. Your presentation was really marvelous and very eye-opening. There is just one thing that I wanted to know.
I
Um,
can't see where are you.
Yeah, I'm
Ah.
here,
Oh, okay, okay,
right behind your friend.
okay, okay.
Now, on-site education has not been that successful even with normal children. So when the case is so, I'm just curious, why should we stress? Why should we force such special children into on-site education?
On-site education or non-on-site education? Pardon, please.
Non-on-site education.
Okay.
Now, non-on-site education has been already a failure. Now, it has been a big challenge. Now, why do we want to force these special kids into that? Now, this is just my personal curiosity.
Yeah. As I told you, as I shared with you at the beginning, when we discuss about the special education children, when we discuss about the acquisition of knowledge, like and acquisitions of the language skills, acquisitions of the basic mathematics skills, so it should be continued. It should be continued. So if we keep a break or a comma for considerable period of time, then the teachers or then it will keep a long blank period. It will keep a blank, and then the teachers or the parents will have to start from the beginning again. So when we consider about the time, contemporary time and the contemporary situation, I think it should be a must.
All right. So due to the time restrictions, so we have to proceed to the next presenter. Thank you very much, Mr. Angamana, and we are very proud of you for sharing this
Thank
knowledge
you,
with us,
everyone.
especially regarding special education need children.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And let me introduce the next presenter. As I already introduced, that is Mr. GSGW Kumara, Faculty of Music, University of the Visual and Performing Arts, Sri Lanka.
Good afternoon, all. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay.
Raise the
Yeah.
mic, please.
Um,
Raise your mic, please.
uh, Actually, I had no prior experience with SBA when I attended initially for it, but I searched and learned that with the help of internet. Long ago, I thought it was only filling the papers, but later I realized it is a valuable thing for students as well as teachers. So with the fact that focusing all of them, I thought to conduct this research study, inquire the problems related to the implementation of school-based assessment program of the Western music. When we are talking about the SBA, it can be used as a very successful application in student-centered education and also in the exploratory learning process. In 1943, in Education Reform Committee selected by the Ministry of Education prepared a report. As a result, it emphasizes the type of person that education was supposed to produce. They mentioned these qualities in the individual as the result of education, mental development, character development, and efficiency, and cultural development. From there onwards, the evolution of education happened time to time, and in 1998, SBA was implemented in Sri Lanka. Analyzing the literature on SBA in Sri Lanka as well as other countries, I realized that they all mentioned the fundamental purpose of SBA is to develop people with artistic skills who can fulfill the desired national general goals and skills of education with a broad vision instead of an emphasis on book learning. Considering all these facts and data, I thought to provide a pool of information on SBA methods related to Western music. These are my objectives: to identify what school-based assessment program should be implemented in the school. The second objective is to identify the SBA methods currently used in the subject of Western music. The third objective is to identify the suggest suitable assessment methods related to Western music for SBA. Fourth one, to identify the barriers and weaknesses of SBA system related to Western music and suggest solutions for them. The data analysis was performed using both descriptive and predictive analysis. This is my sample I used for my survey. Data for this study was gathered from various sources, and I have cascaded them into primary and secondary sources as per the table. In analyzing demographic data, it was expected to consider the age, gender, teaching grades, and work experience of the sample. According to the gender of the sample, 28 are female teachers, which is 80% of the sample, and 7 are male teachers, which is 20%. You can see in the bar chart in the right hand top corner how the sample is depicted by the districts. The chart in the bottom left hand corner shows how the sample of the teachers has been distributed according to the classes they teach. Then according to the last chart, the majority of the teachers who participated in the survey have 6 to 10 years of working experience. You can see in this diagram. Then I have mentioned some findings from my secondary sources too here. The circular and instructions numbered 2017 by 23 introduced the SBA program 6 to 13, grade 6 to 13, as more straightforward and efficient. It's mentioned there is one minimum SBA opportunity for each subject in one term to determine student skills level in grade 6 to 9. As a requirement for the GC O-level examination, the students should complete 3 SBAs within all 3 terms in grade 10 and 2 SBAs in first and second term in grade 11. For the when you talk about GC A-level examination, students should complete 5 SBAs within grades 12 and 13, the same as for the GC O-level examination. These are the SBA methods and tools introduced in implement at school level for all subjects in the circular that I mentioned early, numbered 2017 by 23. According to the data presented in the sample, the left side shows the chart shows the most commonly used assessment methods by teachers for the subject of Western music. However, they use different learning methods for the learning and teaching processes. In addition to the Ministry of Education's general SBA methods and tools for all subjects, the right side figure depicts some of the other methods mentioned in the sample concerning Western music. You can see most of them are more practical and performance-based activities, the tools. So I would like to move to this part, barriers and weaknesses of school-based assessment. I found in the sample for my data, they have stated allocated time for subjects, economic problems of the schools, sudden changes in the plan of the schools, number of students, lack of space in the classroom, lack of technical equipment, overloaded duties. I would like to emphasize the 7th point here. So parents are expecting exam-based education system. So they sometimes expect teachers to give notes and written exams. So even as educators, so we have to focus on changing the thinking patterns of our society. So these are my conclusions. We are all aware the Sri Lankan education system has undergone changes and revisions from time to time. The SBA system is also the same. In implementing the SBA, teachers and educators need to focus on a holistic assessment that allows students to understand their learning styles, motivations, and anything else that helps them do better. With the attention and support of the school principal, teachers, and parents during the holistic assessment, students will be able to achieve their education successfully. I believe that the analyzed data will aid in instructing and guiding teachers in the development of activities using these methods and tools to develop teachers' guidelines. These are my recommendations. Proper teacher training program should be conducted at SBA without additional burden on students and teachers. The SBA should align with the classroom learning teaching process. It should change the SBA system to reflect students' capability to use the skills they have acquired in the classroom as effectively in real life as possible. It is beneficial to encourage teachers to identify and use appropriate instruments and tools in addition to assessment methods. Another important recommendation is to use criteria and rubrics to measure and evaluate students' performances. I think we should train our teachers for it. Among all these facts, it is important to develop a method to regulate the SBA program at the school, provincial and national levels. Finally, I suggest that these possibilities for students also should be considered in the SBA process. Acquiring the skills required to function in the real world, enhancing cognitive abilities, generating new creative ideas and responses actively, assessing their skills at a high level of ability, developing students' personalities from different angles, allowing the learners to be attentive, motivated, and determined to achieve their highest potential by doing the SBAs. These are the references that I used for my study. Because of the limited space, I did not add some references here. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumara. So you managed to finish within the allocated time. Thank you for that. And of course, this topic is very important because for these aesthetic subjects, we are not going to conduct national level exams in the future under the education reforms to be implemented from 2024 onwards in Sri Lanka. So then we have to pay more attention towards SBA because that will be the main assessment method that we are going to assess these aesthetic subjects. So it's my personal point. So I mean, do you think that are we in a position to exclude these final exams and totally assess students based on these formative assessments?
The thing is, I'd like to share with my experience actually that beginning I told this thing. I worked as a teacher first time that 3 years that in a school. I didn't get any experience that especially training that teacher training that I didn't get any training to the teaching or anything that. So it's a huge gap I think at that time. Then I realized that we need to go somehow that luckily we have internet now that then we can find anything. So that is that. So what I did. So actually we need to give that training to our society and teachers to what is this school-based assessment actually. So it's a reality. So we need to show the society actually.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting and your presentation and findings. And now we are going to introduce this formative assessment plus summative now modules, and we are going to use rubrics also. And have you ever found that any complaints about the school-based assessment marking? You do?
Yeah, actually. So it's only that mentioning that O-level certificate that I think there's no proper guidance or management to calculate those things.
No, now in the school,
Yeah.
the teacher gives marks, no? for
Yeah,
assessment.
yeah.
So does the student accept that marks or do they have any?
They don't know so that the teacher marking. It's sending to exam department, and then that is that. So that thing happens
Yeah,
normally.
in our system, we are going to use rubrics.
Yeah.
And they use self assessment, peer assessment, and the teacher assessment all.
Exactly.
And also we have to educate the teacher, and also especially as far as parents are concerned, even teachers, even students, they don't know the importance of the school-based assessment.
Exactly.
Because if they want to become a 21st century oriented skills, oriented person, they should promote critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, teamwork, communication, all this. But how can we test all these things within 3 hours? And we have wasted 1 year in the classroom.
Yeah.
So we are going to use that. So that is the concept we have to promote. So every day we
Yeah,
assess
sir.
them,
That's
and we understand their strength and weakness, and we can guide them,
exactly.
and we can check their creativity, problem-solving skills, innovativeness, all these 21st century skills. That's why we are going to do this. And the only problem is we have to give very transparent, open.
Precise, yeah,
mark-
sir,
mark-
that, yeah.
So that is the big challenge. So in future, let's work together
Yeah,
to do some research on our rubrics and modules and school-based assessment.
yeah, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm working still, that's so.
But you are not
in
working with our modules, no?
Yes, I'm working with
Oh, you're
modules,
working
yeah,
with our-
Western music, yes.
You are working with our people?
Yeah,
You are in the team?
yeah.
Okay, good.
She was here for 2-3 years, I think. Once.
3 years.
Yeah, then he
Okay.
joined open this university, right?
Even now you are working with our team.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
good.
sir.
Then no.
Have
And also examination department has proved that when they do the school-based assessment and the examination marks, there's no much difference.
Yeah,
That's also there. Okay, thank you.
thank you, sir.
Excuse me, Mr. Asantha, you said that your sample was 35 teachers. I would like to ask, did you know aware about their basic knowledge of SBA?
Yes, madam, the thing is, so I asked a few quick questions in my questionnaire. So they didn't answer those questions, especially students of skills even. That is that I came that conclusion. They have no much idea about the school-based assessment.
Yes, then from 1948, after that we started 1988. From that until here, there are so many circulars in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
But we have to rethink about that because of the curriculum development and our educational reforms. So if teachers, if they don't know about this BA, how can we develop? What do you think about that?
It's very difficult to do that if they don't know how can develop the system there. I think firstly that so we need to aware them that we need to give proper training for them, then we can get much good output that through the system. I think
believe that we have to think very.
do you know, madam, I referred so many documents for this thing that why I mentioned that 1943 that document and 1973 document and some of that 1998 also that. So they are giving much details how to develop the system that and assessment methods and everything that. But I think it's not came.
No. The problem was we did change the examination system. No?
Yeah.
We gave the 100% marks to the exam. Then no one is interested on
Yeah.
school visit.
Yeah.
But now, to get a credit, they should earn 70% weightage on what you call formative and 30% from the exams. And finally they get the credit.
Yeah.
So it's automatically built in. And without doing those, they cannot get the credit.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And also, examination department also working with us to do this.
Okay, I think we have to stop here. So then, thank you very much, Mr. Kumara, for sharing.
Especially, this is my first experience in a symposium.
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
Thank you.
We all are getting new experiences. Thank you for organizing this, right? Madam Dhanavardhana and all the team. So, okay, so before moving to the next presenter, sir, we need to award the certificate for Mr. Angam, and because he has to leave. So I would like to invite you, sir, to award certificate to him. Yes, please. Okay, so we'll move to the next presenter. Presentation. Yeah. Okay, so the presenters are from Meepavala Amarasuriya College. Is W.O. Virachini and it's a teamwork. So then Mr. J. Kumasaru, Faculty of Management and Finance, University of Ruhuna, Sri Lanka. So she will be presenting research on the effect of online learning on students' satisfaction, a case study of state-owned schools in Sri Lanka. One more. What is the presentation name? That one.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you for ISRE team for selecting our research to in this symposium. I'm Oshadi, a teacher of Meepavala Amarasuriya College, senior lecturer of Department of Management and Entrepreneurship and Faculty of Management and Finance. Mr. Jampati Kumasaru has joined with to do this research with me. The topic of this research is the effect of online learning on student satisfaction of government schools in Sri Lanka. First of all, let me explain the structure of this presentation. First, I will explain the background. After that, explain the objectives, and then the methodology. After that, findings. After the findings, I will explain the conclusion and the recommendation, and finally the preferences. Let's move into the background information. The reason why I selecting this topic was in 2020, our education critically affected with the COVID pandemic, and we have to the entire global countries of the entire global have to move remote learning. In Sri Lanka also use online learning method and use asynchronous learning methods. When we move into the online learning, we have to face some issues. Here I will explain a few of them. With the transforming of traditional face-to-face education to online learning, most of the teachers and students were unaware with the online platform at that time, and most of the teachers and students also a lack of essential ICT skills. Those were the main problem we have faced when transforming this education. And after that, we face the danger of online abuses of students, and also teachers have to face the difficulties of complicated classroom within the virtual settings, as well as teachers have to maintain the difficulties of educational quality. So as a teacher, we feel I feel that we need to think how to understand this online learning to develop to improve the results of students and to improve the student performances. And also, I feel I need to think how to reinforce the education system within this online platform. So before to go these stages, we discussed that we need to understand the readiness and willingness of both student and teachers. And we thought to give our contribution by doing these research to satisfy how we can satisfy student with this online education. Then we will develop objectives to carry out this our research. The main objective was identify the relationship between online learning and student satisfaction. Based on this topic, we have developed another tool, identify the factors that determine the student satisfaction, and identify the impact of online learning on student satisfaction. Then I'll take your attention to the methodology that we have followed. First, I will explain the sample and sampling techniques. According to the topic, we have to collect data from all over the country, but we see with this pandemic situation and the difficulties, we just only select Galle district. The reason behind why we selecting Galle district was Galle district has the high ranking student performance and high consistency of student population according to the reports of Department of Examination and Ministry of Education in 2020. Then 200 respondents were participate for this survey. We only focus grade 9 to 13 students, assuming that they will fill their questionnaire independently. And the combination of random sampling and convenient sampling methods were used to do this research. Then I will move into the conceptual framework that we have used based on the American Customer Satisfaction Index as well as comprehensive e-learning success model. We developed this conceptual framework. Under this conceptual framework, we included 3 independent variables: quality of teacher, subject design, technical service quality, and 1 dependent variable, student satisfaction. Then I will talk about the instrument that we have used. We collect data from a self-structured questionnaire, and the questionnaire generated from the Google form, and the factors assessed with the 5-point Likert scale. Then I will move into the data collection method we used. Both primary and secondary data collection method were used to do this research. Under the primary data collection method, we collect data from the questionnaire, and this questionnaire divided into 2 parts. First, we included the question belong to student profile. Under the student profile, we included this factor. And in the second part, we included question which belongs to the independent and dependent variable. And then considering the secondary data, we collected secondary data from websites, books, research articles, as well as from the official reports. Then I will take your attention to the data analysis part. In here, to measure the transparency of this research, we used reliability and validity test. According to the table 1, all the Cronbach alpha value met their minimum requirement and the reliability was established. And according to the table 2, the KMO value presents 0.923, and it was quite good for sampling adequacy, while the Bartley's test presenting its significant p-value. Then I will move into the next slide and explain the multiple regression analysis. Here, the regression analysis presents 65.4% of student satisfaction is explained by the teachers' teaching quality, subject design, as well as technical service quality. The ANOVA table explained the regression. It was significant with its p-value, and X was less than the 0.5. Then I'll move into the correlation of online learning and student satisfaction. According to this table, all the independent variables as well as the overall online learning is has strong positive relationship with student satisfaction. And here the according to the coefficient, except teaching quality, all the other variables are positively impact on student satisfaction. These are the all about data analysis part. Then I will move into the hypothesis that we have developed using this analysis and findings. Here, except one hypothesis, it's teaching quality positively impact on student satisfaction. All the other hypotheses were accepted. Teaching quality positively impact on student satisfaction was rejected. Then I will go to explain the general findings of this research. The participants of this survey, most of the students participated from grade 9 to 11, and most of them were girls. And when we considering about the internet mode and the devices that they have used is, they use mobile phones as well as mobile data to log into their online classes. And their preferred online platform was Zoom. Then after that, I'll take your attention to the conclusion that we have find through this research. I can conclude this survey like teaching quality has a strong positive relationship with student satisfaction, but no significant impact. And also student perfection of online learning was moderate. Then according to the subject design also have a strong positive relationship, and also it has a significant impact on student satisfaction. Then talking about the technical service quality, it also have a strong positive relationship, and it also significantly impact on student satisfaction. Then considering these finding and conclusion, I would like to recommend these things. Both teachers and principals can monitor the students' learning progresses, as well as improve the effectiveness of online learning modalities. We'll develop their preference to use the online classes. And also education practitioners can encourage school leaders to take an active role and ensure teachers' continued engagement to develop this to develop student satisfaction. Then talking about the subject design, these parties can select most appropriate learning methodologies as well as regularly updating subject contents, provide student with clear information that can be understandable, and also using live streaming sessions such as Google, Zoom, Microsoft Teams. Using these platform can teachers and students can meet face to face. By using these, by considering these recommendation, can develop the impact of subject designs of students. Then talking about the technical service quality, these parties can encourage and supported to the students to using digital devices, and also can provide internet access for free or at affordable prices to boost their satisfaction. And as well as data facilities for online learning can be accommodated by the government or other internet service providers. So these are all about our presentation conclusion and the recommendation. And this is the references that we have used to do this research. And thank you for listening to my presentation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Virajini, for your informative presentation. So, any questions from the audience? Yes, sir.
I mean, I have experienced something very funny, something very strange as far as use of questionnaires is concerned. You know, you administer a questionnaire, you administer an opinionaire, and people are not very sincere. They just tick excellent, 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 excellent. Okay, or not good, not good, not good. Without thinking about the items, people just tick anything unthinkingly, thoughtlessly. So how did you ensure that the questionnaire that you administered or the opinionaire that you administered was responded to honestly and sincerely? Because you have no control over what people say or which ones they tick. And the other thing is satisfaction is something which is not accessible.
Yeah,
It's a state of mind. So is it quantifiable? How can you quantify something which is very abstract and inaccessible?
yes,
You have no access to satisfaction with the mind. So there are limitations.
Yeah, might be limitation, but in the literature, they have used these kind of things, and we tested here the subjective satisfaction indicators. Then it is not quantifiable it is not saying in numbers, but we are measuring it based on their attitude. Attitude measurement was considered.
Yeah, but the whole thing is in a mess actually, because you talk about attitude, you talk about satisfaction, you talk about questionnaires, and questionnaires are not reliable to some extent. Attitudes are not accessible. You know, I may say I like English very much, but I may not like English very much. So there is a difference between saying and doing, or saying and believing.
That's why
So how do you address that?
That's why we considered the Likert scale questions, then ranking from 1 to 5. Then the student can rank their satisfaction level from 1 to 5. 1 means strongly agree and 5 means strongly disagree. Then within this range, they can mention their satisfaction.
Yeah, but they can just say, you know, okay, strongly agree, strongly agree, strongly agree.
If we will get such type of answers, then we couldn't get the reliability results.
Thank you. I think we should encourage These two young. This is your first research.
No, no,
Uh,
no.
How many research you have done?
That is
that-
research, first time research.
First time,
Okay.
and now also I'm a teacher, and just this is
the first
very
time,
new
yes.
opportunity for me.
Correct, correct. So we have to appreciate that. It's good. It's a very good effort. But now, when you do this research, now try the new methods. For example, on teacher, what normally do is do the same thing, teach slides, put slides or notes and teach to the student. They use the passive learning. It's not correct. Now we are talking about the active learning, right? If the teacher allow a student to make groups, say 5 into 5 groups, and allow to read the lesson or understand and teach back to the teacher. And over the other student, they learn more, right? So if you try this, you might learn a lot and you might do a lot of experiments. But this is the traditional way. Now, since you are a teacher, better you try the other way. Do you know the learning pyramid? No, okay. So you study the learning pyramid, and when it comes to the bottom side, there are 3 steps. That is discussion, practice by doing, and teach others are the best way of learning things. So by using this online, you can allow students to become active learners. So you may get better results than passive learning by the teacher.
Thank you very much.
That's my recommendation. Yes.
So one question. So in my view, if you are using the Likert scale data for that kind of purpose, I suggest that you can use not the linear regression model. I think you have to use from my experience, logical regression model is better than the multiple linear regression model, I think.
And also you can put several questions whether they have answered correctly. For example, you first question you ask this, and you ask the same question in different way, in the negative form, then if they lie, so you can check it. So you have to form the questionnaire in that way. Anyway, it's good effort.
Thank you, sir.
You will learn a lot. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, of course, regarding the validity of a questionnaire and reliability, yes, there are different methods that we can assure the reliability as well as the validity. For instance, in case, if we think that students just gave us fake answers in the questionnaire, probably we can select some students and interview them. For instance, in case if the student is highly unsatisfied according to the questionnaire, probably you can have a discussion with the child separately to see whether he expresses the same feelings during the discussion. So this is one of the examples. Regarding reliability and validity, we have to do a lot. In case if we are using a questionnaire, developed by ourselves. So anyway, congratulations and thank you.
Best thing is to put cross-cutting questions.
Yes.
Right. So first, are you very satisfied about this trade? Then I am not satisfied. Also put the other question. Then again, if she totally agreed, that means he's like.
Yeah, that's also one of the methods.
That's
Yes.
the way you have.
Within the questionnaire, we can,
manage it. Because as professor said, if the line put just happy, 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 if he says happy for the negative question also, that means he's like. Okay.
All right. So, although we are far behind our time schedule, so now we have come to the last presentation. That is Dr. Dumina Lellopitiya from our ME faculty. So, Dr. Dumina, over to you. And she'll be presenting her study on classroom management and school climate factors affecting GCE O-level mathematics achievement.
Good afternoon, dear sir, madam. I think you can see, this is in Sri Lanka from 1994 till 2020. GCE O-level mathematics achievement level, and 1994 33.6, and 2032.95, and 2010 you can see 61.66, and finally 2020 70.52. Now we know in mathematics and maths is very helpful analytical thinking, and for the maths helps to develop the ability to thinking, and math help us to day-to-day activities. But in Sri Lanka, here Sri Lanka, to pass the ordinary level and GCE O level, students should pass 6 subjects, including mother tongue and mathematics. There were many, now you see before in this table, from 1994 till 2020, but we are still in 70.1, our percentage. But in there were many national implementation to increase the pass rate of the mathematics subject. First, in 2001, first question is mathematics. Second paper included 6 short structure questions, and last 2008 and 2016 model of the question paper was changed. And if some students face the paper 1, they can out of the 20 questions, and if they can pass the GCE O level, if they can try and they can pass. But still now, here you can see 70.52. And we know lot of factors affect the subject achievement. And we know family background, peers and teachers factors, classroom conditions, school factors, learning environment, student factors. And here, my topic is classroom management and school climate factors affecting GCE O-level mathematics achievement. Learning cannot be done through teaching as well as teaching should be done to learning. Learning will be effective of learning environment developed in healthy manner. And Masona and Pickering in 2003, and create a safe and friendly environment to learning. Establishment of a friendly environment towards qualitative and qualitative education in school and classroom led the effective learning. School which have friendly school climate achieve the expected level of results. Effective classroom management can maintain a control, and it creates a learning environment. Now, and my research question, what is the size of the overall relationship between the selected independent variables which relevant to classroom management and student achievement in GCE O-level mathematics? And second one is, how much of the relationship is contributed uniquely by each independent variable which relevant to the classroom management? And third one, what is the size of overall relationship between the selected independent variable which relevant to school climate and student achievement in GCE O-level mathematics? And the fourth one, how much of the relationship is contributed uniquely by each independent variable which relevant to the school climate? And my research hypothesis, and there is no significant relationship between the classroom management And here I selected 8 variables and teacher behavior, instructional strategy, age group, homework, positive reinforcement, monitoring students' performance, classroom learning environment, size of classroom, and the achievement level of the students in GCO level mathematics at significance level 0.5. And here, second, my hypothesis is there is no significant relationship between the school climate. And here I selected 4 variables: teacher affiliation, academic emphasis, resource support, and instructional leadership, and the achievement level of students in GCO level mathematics at 0.5 significant level. And this is my conceptual framework. And here I was and the classroom management 8 variables, and school climate 4 variables, how to affect the GCO level mathematics achievement. And in my research, I base the theoretical base of my research is Biggs and Moore 1993, and learner characteristic and teacher characteristic, they meet in the classroom. And classroom is in the school environment, in the school wider context in, and the school context, the leader is the principal, he is the instructional leader, and how to manage the classroom, and the student and teacher to teaching and learning, and how to outcomes their mathematics achievement. And my literature review, the research I selected here 3 research in the classroom management. The first is self-evaluation survey on classroom management in 2008, Akin and Little. In that research, he selected the methodologies which used by the teacher in classroom management, rule of the classroom, classroom management strategies of motivation, strategies to minimize disciplinary problems. And here that the research findings, due to classroom management done by classroom teachers, productivity can be seen in students of high school. And second research, my review is relationship between math marks of secondary school students and classroom management 2010, Bannon. And here is the variable, he selected variables, teachers as the interfere in non-interfere interactivities, how in the activities in the classroom. And the findings of this research, classroom which available interactive teachers in controllable, and its achievement is in higher level. And third one, classroom management and achievement of mathematics subject. And here the variables is homework and teacher role. And this research finding is teachers' interference to classroom affairs effect on students' achievement. And here the school climate, I select here 2 research, and effect of the school health towards students' achievement, Hoy and Sabo, 1998. And that research, select the variables are principal's role, assistant of resources, teachers' roles, and instructional leadership. That research finding is instructional leadership of principal, role of the principal, effect on students' achievement. And next research is effect of school health towards achievement of science, Jaufer 2001. He selected effect of instructional leadership, academic emphasis, direct and indirect leadership, practical sessions of science achievement of students. And his findings is instructional leadership, academic emphasis, teacher affiliation affected on science achievement. And my research method is quantitative research, and the sample is student 424, and selected 10 schools. And in this 10 schools, GCE O level teaching mathematics teachers in 24, and these 10 schools, 10 principals. And questionnaire for pupils and students, and interview schedules for mathematics teacher and principals. And my research data analysis used multiple regression analysis. The data were analysis using SPSS computer program and the statistic techniques, regression analysis. The conclusions drawn from the quantitative analysis were cross-checked with the qualitative data. And here the background, the teachers, qualification, their age group, and their experience. And most of the teachers are over 50. My sample over 50. Out of 24, 8 teachers are over 50, and the qualifications. Out of 24 teachers, 7 teachers and trained teachers in mathematics. And here the 4 teachers are trained teachers, but they teach mathematics, but their training is other subjects. And the age group experience of the teachers, and most of the teachers, the experience is year 6 to 10. And my samples findings, and then here too, and finally they are based on their results. The marks mean is I selected higher performance and low performance over 60. The marks mean is 6 school, and below 60, and 4 schools here their mean is 44.2 below, and over the 60 mean, and 6 schools. And we can see here regression analysis and teacher behavior, classroom management, teacher behavior, learning, monitoring learning factors and homeworks, and significant level 0.5, and over the 0.5 here, the teacher behavior, monitoring learning and the homework. And you can see, and teacher affiliation and academic emphasis and instructional leadership also, the significant, statistically significant levels over than 0.05. And findings, my research, the teacher affiliation with the students and schools and the collaboration of maths teachers have significantly affected the mathematics achievement of the pupil. This confirmed the previous findings of the Bosch and Peters 1977, who characterized the importance role of the collaboration is assisting teachers to reflect on whether what they tried in the classroom actually met their experience and help them to overcome constraints to change, such as the lack of materials or lack of ideas that facilitate higher achievement of students. Although they choose elementary maths teachers for their study, this study confirmed that this could be extended to the secondary level maths teachers in Sri Lanka. And academic emphasis can be considered another major factors that affect the achievement of students. Mathematics is secondary school. These findings support the results by 1993, and the many researchers done, and the same findings support these findings. Instructional leadership of the principal can also be considered an important factor affecting the achievement level of the students in mathematics in secondary school. The school climate variables, teacher affiliation, academic emphasis, and instructional leadership showed significant correlation with the variations of achievement level of the students in mathematics. And the classroom management variables, teacher behavior, homework, and instructional leadership showed significant correlation with the variation of achievement level of the students in mathematics. And my suggestions: the present study indicates the teacher's affiliation has significant positive relationship with mathematics achievement of students in secondary schools. This implies that principals and maths teachers should work to maintain existing teachers' collaboration. Moreover, educational authorities should take appropriate measure to enhance the present state of teachers' collaboration. This study clearly indicates the positive relationship of academic emphasis with the pupils' mathematics achievement. It is therefore suggested that the principal and math teacher should work to enhance the present learning environment of maths in classroom. All the maths teachers should be encouraged to participate in in-service classes. Principals should not think the participation of teachers in in-service classes would disturb the regular learning teaching environment of the school. And another finding was the significant relationship between the instructional leadership of the principal and the achievement level of the students in mathematics. It is true that many studies may have revealed only an indirect effect of instructional leadership of the principal on pupils' achievement. Even so, in this study, I found both direct and indirect effects of the instructional leadership of the principal on the achievement level of students in mathematics in Sri Lanka secondary school. In other words, instructional leadership of the principal had both direct and indirect effects on students' achievement in mathematics when academic emphasis and teacher affiliation were taken into account. However, its effect on mathematics achievement was ranked third when we compared with the impact of teacher affiliation and academic emphasis. And here my reference. Thank you for give me the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Dumina. So, any questions from the audience?
Yeah, I will ask the first question. Good, very interesting research. And when did you do this research, Dumina?
Before
COVID.
2020, sir.
2020,
yes.
Okay, something a little older.
Yes, yes. Sir.
Because I found, because now you are talking about active learning.
Yes, yes.
So we have not practiced
Yes.
those things.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, if you do the same research now, you do this completely different approach.
Yes, sir, different.
Yeah.
But now also still we are in the O-level results 70 or 71 points.
Yeah, yeah. But if you can, now you have tried those new approaches.
Yes.
So if you, the student teachers can use those active learning methods,
Yes.
definitely their retention and what do you call this commitment will go out. And also in your research, I didn't find any student commitment part, because a lot of people, especially in case of mathematics, including myself those days in the school, I was not serious about the mathematics.
Yes.
Commitment, but you have missed that point. Why?
Mm.
So if you get that student commitment is the main factor other than
Yes.
anyone. Because teacher might say anything, parents might say anything, or principal might say, but if the student is not committed,
Yes.
very difficult. No?
Yes, sir.
Anyway,
Yes.
so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for a very effective presentation. It was quite interesting. My question is, you said something like that the quantitative data was cross-checked.
Yes.
Using qualitative data.
Yeah.
Can you do it the other way around? Like, for example, you have qualitative data, which can be cross-checked using quantitative data. Is it possible? And if it is possible, which of the two is more reliable?
No, cross-check for pupils. I give the questionnaire, and the teachers and principals, and I interviewed how they work with the students in the classroom, and this research done 2020 and 2019. And I remember September, October, and I went to the classroom and I start my research. And after the O-level in 2020 results, and after I get the results and Again, I cross-check the teachers, how think about the students' achievement. The cross-check mean the qualitative, I get the qualitative data from the teacher and the principal. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, Professor raised an important question, Lumina. So whether the first go to quantitative, then qualitative, or the other way. So I want an answer from you, sir. So what do you think? I mean, are both possible or? Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You already have got quantitative data and you want to cross-check the validity, the reliability, the trustworthiness of the quantitative data. So you use qualitative data to either support or contradict the quantitative data. Now, can you do it the other way around? Like, for example, you already have got qualitative data,
Yeah.
and you want to validate it or invalidate it, corroborate it using quantitative data.
Yeah.
There are two systems,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So which of the two systems is more reliable?
Yeah, according to
The
my
first one or
understanding,
the second one?
yeah, according to my understanding, second one, basically we get the qualitative data first, then go for a quantitative data.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering whether the other way around. I mean, yeah, I
No,
mean, it's
quantitative
possible, right?
data used to cross-check is more reliable. That you have qualitative data.
Yeah.
And then you have quantitative data, and you use quantitative data
To validate
cross-check or to validate or invalidate or whatever.
qualitative
the,
data.
the qualitative data. I think
Yeah.
this is more reliable.
This is more reliable. Yes, that's how the researchers are doing. Yes. Anyway, yeah, you're very correct, sir. So the basically what we do is we gather qualitative data and then go for quantitative data to validate what we found using qualitative data. Yes. Anyway, so I'm so glad to be a part of this work, and of course I also learn a lot and I got a new experience from my side, so I'm so happy, and so I congratulate all the presenters again, and so we'll wind up the session. Thank you very much. So I think we have to award certificates. So shall I? Yeah, I'll call by name. So then, sir, will you join? So yeah, our Deputy Director General, Planning and Research, Mrs. Ranjani Dhanavardhana, I would like to invite you to join with us for the certificate awarding ceremony. So first, presenter, Dr. P.C. Dugar. So, madam. So next we will award certificate to Mrs. Chandrika Piris from our primary department. Okay. Right, thank you. Then Mr. GSGW Kumar. Then next presenter, Miss Virajini, Miss W. O. Virajini. Has she left? Oh, okay, she has already left. So then the last presenter, Dr. Dumina Lelopitiye. Thank you very much, Madam Dhanavardhana, for joining with us. All right, so we'll move to Yeah, lunch, and so we'll be back. Yeah. So, Dr. Captigore, so we'll be back by 2:30. Yes. 2:30, yes. Yeah. So there will be two sessions after 2:30. The other one at multimedia room as usual, right? So